Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again for another week of the
Hi
WaffleBran
guys.
Podcast. Hello.
Hello.
Waffles delayed us
Hello.
once again, as per
Yeah.
normal. And
Hey, it was my cousin's fault this time. It wasn't my fault this time. Ish.
Welcome back
You
for
did.
another week.
Shit,
We have
okay, it was a
another
little my
special
fault,
Okay. Thanks, Waffles, for the interruption again. We have a special guest for this week. Once again, we got the amazing Astra here with us down in the corner right there, in the VTuber model. Oh my God,
Hi,
there's glare on the glasses. I didn't even realize there was glare on it. Just makes your eyes just go completely like white. And there's nothing you can see. You stare into the void. The light, the void of
I
light.
like that. Yeah. For anybody listening to the audio version, we have another VTuber in here. We got Astra.
We do have another VTuber. Second time, because Arya was in her VTuber model.
Yeah, Arya was the last VTuber. Yeah.
So we have another VTuber joining us today, which is amazing. We love the VTubers.
And Miso. Miso is the second special guest because he's attached to me. You know.
I should have
literally on my head.
I should have added and Miso in the name tag.
And Miso, yeah.
That should have been what that is. There we go.
Yeah, she's got a little.
Miso is sort of used to just being in the background. It's fine.
Yeah, you got a little slime guy on top of what is Miso exactly? Is he like he looks like something you'd see in like a JRPG like Final Fantasy or something, like something you something you'd run into in like Genshin Impact or something.
Yeah, so Miso is my companion who is always with me. And it's just he likes to chill sometimes. When I'm streaming and I have to go AFK, he watches over chat for me. He's just sort of there. And he doesn't talk. He doesn't have much expressions.
He doesn't have much to say.
He doesn't have much to say. He doesn't like other people other than me, so he's probably gonna be fairly quiet.
The quiet
He's
companion.
Not gonna, yeah.
The quiet companion.
He's not going to contribute to the conversation.
No, but he will silently judge you for sure.
Okay.
And probably complain to me later.
He's just there to be intimidating.
Yeah. Look, he's so intimidating, isn't he?
Yeah, it's pretty intimidating.
I feel like he's always judging Waffles, as all of us are, and probably
as everyone is. Yes.
Probably saying it doesn't have to be
so.
quiet, but probably telling you in quiet all the judgment of Waffles.
Don't you dare judge me, Miso.
Are you threatening Miso now, Waffles?
How dare you?
Are you threatening Miso?
Oh, dang. Oh, well, this is off to a good start. Already threatening our guest. We're like 5 minutes in. I'm threatening our guest.
Well, you heard it here first. Waffles threatens guest.
How dare you? I'm never coming back on this podcast again.
Welcome to the WaffleBran Podcast. Who the hell do you think you are?
I'm Astra.
That's just how we introduce all of our guests.
Who
do you think you are? No, legit. Like, who do you think you are?
No,
it's a philosophical question.
No, Waffles, doing a really intimidating thing right now. Do a really intimidating kind of interrogation, kind of saying.
Who do you think that you are?
Look in the camera.
Coming into our podcast and being a guest on our podcast, that is actually really nice of you. That's really cool. I love that you're here. It's really cool of you. Thank you so much.
He goes from just this intimidating kind of like, oh, thank you. Actually, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Lovely to have you here, Astra.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to introduce? You introduced Miso. How about you introduce yourself though?
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Astra. I am a floof, a celestial, fluffy floof being thing. I'm really bad at introductions. I like snacks a lot. My favorite snacks are waffles.
I'm sorry.
This waffles specifically.
That's
Yeah. That's it. That's my
I thought you were gonna pull out the like. So her little VTuber model has like a picture of like my cartoon waffle avatar,
We literally
and
just spoke about this before
have
the stream started. She uses
don't
the
have this
Discord
loaded
into
on here.
the Dis-
Use your Discord.
oh, it
please.
doesn't work. Oh,
Oh my, God.
We literally
I
spoke about this
We
before, just before we went live, was the fact that she couldn't do it because she uses the
Oh.
Discord integration that has your model pop up when you're in the VC with her. But that's not activated right now. We literally spoke about
yeah, of course I remember that conversation.
Uh,
I was paying attention, as I always do. You know, I'm good at doing the attention thing.
Have the drinks
did-
already gotten to you,
Right.
Waffles? Like you said you put a little bit of vodka.
you said, how much vodka did you have in this stream?
Apparently we walked into a bar. That's apparently what the stream title says.
Yeah,
So we got some drinks.
I mean, we are in a
but-
bar, so it makes sense.
We walked into a bar and Waffles ordered a triple shot.
Apparently
Yeah,
so.
I just-
And he said he only did a little bit, but apparently a little bit means a triple shot.
Yeah, we walk into a bar and I just ordered just give me a whole half gallon. Just give me a whole half gallon of vodka, just right now.
I don't think they sell it in half gallons. I think that's milk.
Can I get a keg?
No, they sell vodka in half gallons. Don't ask how I know that.
Is it from
I
your
don't
job
know
that you?
Don't ask how I know.
Is it from your job that you spoke about last time?
My job, yes, my job selling cider. Well, you don't serve cider in half gallons. That would be
Well, no, I wasn't because you worked at a restaurant, didn't you? You said last time. In the last podcast?
oh yeah, well,
Because last
yeah,
time,
Captain
if you
Jack's.
did miss it, we talked about jobs we've gone through. Waffle says he's done a little bit more untraditional jobs, which we found about. I did a little bit more traditional jobs. So that was what we spoke about last time, which was a couple weeks ago. So if you haven't seen that one and you want to go find out about both of our past, but if you want to see Waffles' interesting stories about his job, go check out the previous podcast. That
Little backstory about how we've become the amazing, responsible people that we are today. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Does this guy look responsible to you?
What do you mean? I'm a very responsible boy who's always on time for all of his streams, 100% of the time. Definitely.
Yeah, everybody who watches Waffles' streams, quote that right now. Everyone quote that right now, and just next time he's late for anything, just post that. Literally,
Just
that clip. Just take that clip and just post it. No context, just post it. There we go.
I am on time for everything. I'm gonna look right into the camera. I am always on time for everything, and I dare you to quote me on that. I never late for a stream ever.
You're not scuffed at all?
Ever. Definitely not. No, I am not scuffed. There's nothing scuffed about my streams. They always work perfectly as intended.
Yes, and this is the reason, and that's totally the reason why Waffles is totally managing this, and I'm totally not the one managing this behind the scenes.
100%.
Riku's-
100%.
Riku in the chat is like, being 30 minutes late consistently is also a schedule.
I mean, you do realize that at this
Exactly.
point, if you say that you're streaming at 3, we all just sort of assume that it's at 3:30. Like we
Right,
always, we
yeah,
always
everybody
sort
just
of
automatically
plan to be
assumes it.
there,
So
30 minutes late.
I'm as much Flygo is like, Waffles, you are as much on time as Bran is not the best admin ever. Aw. You're talking about Bran adminning for for Johnny and stuff.
I
Yeah.
don't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, kind of getting back to it. We haven't even discussed what we were doing topic about, which we didn't even decide until 5 minutes before we started stream. So
yeah, we
Did we
just kind of
actually
like joined
decide?
together and we're like, did we decide on a topic? No.
Were they
Okay.
actually made?
Well, I think we're doing VTubering. Are we not?
I don't know.
All right, we have no
Yeah.
topic today. Apparently, no.
I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity, yeah, that we have a VTuber here. We can kind of talk about that because
This Waffles wants to become a VTuber. What does
Yes.
Waffles need to become a VTuber now that he's made the decision?
I need an anime girl avatar with boobies. I need it, and I'm pretty sure then I'll be the number one streamer in all of Twitch. I think I think that's all I need. Pretty sure.
Yes, that is the one thing you're missing.
Yeah,
The
that's the
boobies.
one thing. I have everything everything it takes. I have everything I need except for an anime avatar with boobies.
Waffles needs to become an anime girl. So yeah, we're
I
gonna.
need to become anime girl
I
to
mean, hey, being an anime girl is pretty nice. Like, no makeup, no makeup needed. I didn't. The only thing I needed to do to get ready was to like load up VTube Studio. My room always looks picture perfect. Everything's amazing. Can be a celestial being. I can be whatever I want. I can have miso on top of my head. So it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice, I have to say. I'm not
Yeah, the
biased at all, but
advantages I mean, the advantages, right, are like the ability to just look perfect at every moment, all the time. As soon as you hit live on stream, bam, everything's perfect. It's when I do like stream and stuff, I have to, make sure that I actually, I can't have like a hobo beard or, I
You
can't just
could.
be
You
like
could absolutely
in
do
my
it, Waffles.
PJs.
have a hobo
I
beard.
could have a hobo beard. That's true. That's
You
true.
could
There are a lot of
absolutely
people
do
on
that.
Twitch with glorious hobo beards. You're not wrong. But like I can't just be wearing my PJs and in my underwear, which you can do you can be butt naked as a VTuber if you wanted
Well,
to.
I'm not butt naked. Let me put that out there. Let me clarify. Waffles is not talking about me. He's talking about himself.
Oh God, is this why? Is
Um,
this why you want to become a VTuber, Waffles? Is that?
Yeah,
it's
so that I can stream naked. Maybe. Maybe that is a very large part of it. Only a very large part of it. I mean, that would
I'm
be a huge bonus, right? You could just be like, I'm getting
I
out of the
wouldn't go
shower
as
and I'm
far as
gonna go
saying
stream now.
I wouldn't go as far as saying go completely, but yeah, no, being able to just kind of turn your camera on and have your tracking, be able to once you got everything set up to go, is probably a lot nicer than having to try to make yourself a little bit more presentable and your background a little bit more presentable as well. Like specifically, especially for some people who are streaming in their rooms or something, they kind of have their bed behind them or whatever, and it looks a little bit. You kind of have to make sure
Right.
that nice. I have the luxury of having a separate room where I can make my kind of. I need to do a little bit more back there, but kind of I don't clean anything up back up there because the mess is on the other side of the stuff. But
I mean, you could do what a lot of streamers do, which is well, not a lot, but it's
green
a
screen.
thing I've seen some people do, which is they just have the green screen.
which
They just have a
Yeah,
picture,
yeah.
the
which
picture
Cut
of
out the
their room
background.
behind them on the green
which
screen.
which I haven't done the picture of the room behind me, but I have done the green screen, especially if people have seen previous like older podcasts or other things. I do have a green screen. It literally sits right over there, and I have put it up. It's not as
Yeah,
nice
just
as
take a picture of your room exactly like it is right now and just put the green screen behind it. Then you'd never have to clean it ever.
yeah, I'd have to have a video playing because with the lights going, because that's what I have the lights going on right now. So that's the one thing that makes the difference. But like if you could have a video playing on the green screen and they would look the exact same.
I mean, I will say there are downsides to it, right? Like you mentioned tracking. Tracking doesn't always work. And anyone who's tuned into my stream knows that tracking definitely doesn't always work. I mean, there are some times where it just
Mhm.
cuts out. There are some times where you can't get like for example, I use VTube Studio, which is I think what most VTubers use nowadays, if you're 2D least. And your phone doesn't, so I use my phone to like capture my face and then transfer it to my computer. And sometimes the phone and the computer don't connect to each other. So I would say that, we have our own share of different sort of technical difficulties just because, like, for example, just to be here with you guys in this model, right? Like, I have to have like three
Right.
different programs running just to be able to do this.
Fair.
Whereas,
Yeah.
like, you guys just have to turn your camera on, but I have to have like three different programs running in order to be able to actually like run the model and run the program and run the tracking and everything. So I think there's pros and cons for both sides.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot of technical stuff. I just put a camera on my face and, you know, look as beautiful as I am. No. And yeah, there's not a lot I have to like there's not yeah, a lot of technical stuff I guess to being just uh I guess what would you call me, a flesh tuber?
You are a
A
flesh
flesh
tuber,
being.
I
yes.
think I think that is definitely the term for when you're in the VTubing industry is you call the others
Yeah.
flesh
You
tubers
call
maybe.
everybody else a flesh tuber? Is that a derogatory term? Those flesh tubers.
I think I've heard it used
Those
like that
flesh
before, so yeah,
tubers.
I wouldn't throw it away.
I mean, I don't know. I think
Face
that
tuber, face
I think it's yeah, face
traditional.
tuber,
It's the traditional.
traditional
Traditional.
streamer. I have heard traditional streamer before as well.
It's funny that there's already a thing that is because streaming is not a very old concept. Like it's pretty new in terms of, relative to uh you know, computers and all that stuff. It's streaming's a pretty new concept, and the fact that there's already traditional streamers
Well, it's just the
is
evolution. That's
pretty
kind of
insane to
it,
me.
it's,
Yeah,
it's it's the kind of the evolution of things. Is there is always going to be a change and stuff. So we just there's parts that have been involved and now capitalized on where there is now a kind of a traditional style and a newer, unique style. It's VTubing is
yeah.
still quite niche, so it's still hard to say that.
It's
It's like
gotten a lot more popular.
it's
I
gotten
mean,
a
it
lot bigger,
is.
that's for sure. But
Yeah,
it's still pretty niche, I'd say, in the grand scheme of things. In comparison to some stuff, but it has gotten a lot bigger and a lot more popular to do as a
yeah.
way. But obviously that
Especially in Japan. Japan is all over that stuff. Like
Oh,
they got the
100%.
whole. I think they've got what's it called, Hololive. I think which is
Hololive,
Oh,
just
DJ
an
Sanji.
entire organization of VTubing.
So
It's crazy.
So we should probably go over this. Waffles is, as you would call, traditional. I would have to say.
I'm a good old fashioned traditional man.
So obviously we he's a little bit more experienced than some other people. Obviously having VR and everything. But you don't know as much about the VTubing industry as maybe some friends and others, right?
No, I'm not very. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about the VTubing industry and stuff like that. I know I see a lot of the Japanese VTubers. I don't even watch VTubers that much, but I still, see them everywhere. So, and I have a few friends that are VTubers, Astra. So
hi.
like, I mean, I know what it is and I'm decent. I would say I'm definitely a lot more familiar with it than most people.
Your average person.
But yeah. Yeah, but still not like I'm not in the know, I'm not in the industry, so to speak.
Yeah, so when it comes to like some of this stuff, like a lot, Waffles isn't gonna have as much knowledge, whereas obviously Astra, who is a VTuber, probably has a little bit more, definitely has a lot more experience, especially with doing VTubing and stuff. And I've done things involving a lot more VTubing. Again, refer back to the past podcast to learn about some of the stuff I did. But I've done some management with VTubers, and I still do a little bit of interaction with other VTubers. So I kind of have to have the knowledge of the VTubing industry, although maybe not as in depth as Astro, being someone who actually does it for part time. So
Is that your like most I would say common client is making
I don't know. It depends, because like obviously when like depending on what you're doing, like when I was doing management, I was working with primary VTubers, and that was kind of all I was doing, just because that's who I was networked with. I wasn't restricted to them. I just wasn't networked with more people that were traditional or stuff. It's kind of I got my start in and that's kind of what I know. Now with U2s, it's not necessarily the highest clientele. It's again, it's very niche, so it's hard to always do it. Like, but the
Right.
one thing with VTubers is you can make VTubers very marketable because they're just modeled after anime, basically.
Right.
So
It's very easy to
Yep.
make merchandise for a VTuber. Yeah.
so like take yourself for example. If we just did you and not like it's not your brand, which is the waffle, that's not
Right.
a human. What we call a humanoid isn't as marketable. Even anime, like even VTubers are hard. Like sometimes you would take something like miso and do that instead.
Well, yeah, like
as a plushie, because that's a lot more marketable than a humanoid.
than
the
a
standard-
dude with glasses, a beard, and a baseball
Yeah.
cap.
I mean, to be fair, Miso would probably beat out everyone. I mean, he's just adorable.
That's true. He is
cutest-
adorable.
the
That is
cutest
an
little
adorable
being
slime
ever.
boy.
Yeah, so like so again, I wouldn't say it's the biggest because there's a lot of different things you can do and a lot of different
Mhm.
creators out in the industry with different creators or characters and different kind of personas and different things. But when it comes to VTubers, there is a clear marketable aspect about them that makes it very easy just to go, yeah, you would work rather than
Right.
deciding
Mhm.
will this work? Does it work? Are there is
Yeah, we got to make it work. It's
Yeah.
like they've got a pretty defined character and everything already. So it's like, yeah, it's interesting because in a way you are streaming and doing live stuff as your mascot character. It's like the equivalent of the guy on like the football field in the mascot outfit dancing around and stuff like that. But that's the main that's the team. That's like
Well,
the actual, you know.
How much does lore for you specifically play into kind of being a VTuber? Because there's a lot of people who play into lore
Yeah.
very deeply. So for yourself,
Yeah,
how
so-
deep does that play?
Yeah, so there's an interesting aspect because I think VTubers are mainly split up into two different categories, right? Like there's the one that is very much like I am a character. This is the character I play. This is my backstory behind the character. And I think that's the
Mhm.
case with a lot of industry VTubers, the ones from like Hololive and Nijisanji. Like they have very predefined lore, predefined things, and they need to sort of fit themselves into that character. Me, on the other hand, and I think most of my friends as well, we sort of go into the other one where we just don't really want to show our face for, like various different reasons. So we create someone or we create like a we create the model based on what we would like to look like or just based on our preferences
Mhm.
and go off of that and sort of build the lore off of that. So like for me personally, before I was Astra, Star was my online name for the longest time.
That's right. Yeah.
It
I
was
remember
my
that.
name for like years and years and the longest time. So I sort of
Yep.
always sort of fit into the celestial vibe. I always loved Star Trek. Was always one of my favorite things. And like my favorite quote from Star Trek is "Ad Astra Perispera," which is where my name comes from, coincidentally.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know
But
that.
yeah, that's where my name comes from.
Oh, you're a big Star
But
Trek fan?
love Star Trek.
Oh man, we should have done that as a
Voyager
topic. I would have
Voyager
been
is
all
the
over
best.
that.
Voyager is the best, and I will fight
New
anyone who
topic.
says
New topic.
other.
Bran, obviously the biggest Star Trek fan.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Bran knows
Um,
everything there is to know about Star Trek. What's your favorite Star Trek, Brad? No, just-
Number whatever 36. I don't know.
number 36. But yeah, so I think like for me, and I think is the case with, others, it's that the model came first based on what we wanted to look like, and we sort of fit the lore around that. Now, like for me personally, there are bits and parts of my lore that sort of encompass my personality, or my personality has influenced it. Like with part of my VTuber lore is like, I was born from a black hole because I was introduced to like Twitch first before I even became a VTuber. I was introduced like to Twitch and streaming when I was sort of in a, darker mental state in my
Okay.
life. So it sort of is it depends for each person individually, I think, on whether they play a
Right.
character. I think you can sort of tell who truly plays a character and who is just sort of here. Like for
just
me, I don't.
is a person with a VTuber avatar.
Yeah, right. Like I don't consider Astra, right? Like
Right.
as a separate being other than myself. Like this is
Right.
just what I choose to
Whereas in
use
those, like,
when
the
I'm
Japanese ones, like the Hololive and stuff like that, like, they are defined by
right,
that, like,
exactly.
that is them. They don't
Well,
allude to the fact that they have real lives or anything like that. They're
Exactly.
just
Yes.
well,
Whereas
yeah,
portraying a character.
yes, exactly.
and I think
Whereas like I'm very open and like, going to school full time and like having a
Right.
life outside of Twitch and everything, whereas they're not,
I am a
so.
celestial goddess being, also going to school sucks butts.
Yeah, I mean, tough man, living two lives,
I think
it's rough.
I think that part of it comes down to also just the industry in terms of where you're laid out. Because again, like I kind of Astra was saying, is part of it is those people in Hololive are the corporate VTubers they call them, because they're run by kind of corporate industries, whereas indie VTubers, which is what Astra would be known as, are just independent people that just do it because they want to, and they're because of the way that's kind of separated, that kind of defines the way you have to act in a way. Like there's a lot of indie VTubers that will go and be like, oh yeah, I'm deep in my lore, and it is a separate kind of being. But like tradition, more than likely, and I wouldn't say traditionally, but more than likely, you find indie VTubers gonna be more kind of, yeah, this is a model, but I do, and I'm gonna. Some people are gonna play more into the lore, but a lot of people still allow it to be like, yeah, I'm somebody else outside of real life, which also gives the benefit in conventions where those people can go and say, oh, I'm at a convention, and be a person. Some people take that as in depth and go like, go to conventions and say it's a different persona of myself, but and go as far as that, but they still allow themselves to go and join a convention in person.
Yeah, that brings up a good point.
Where
like if you are a VTuber with like an avatar, that is a different character. How do you present yourself at conventions and stuff like that? Like if you're a person that's playing a VTuber character, you obviously
Yeah, so
you in person is going to be a completely different experience. Like, do they even go
so
to conventions?
so I myself haven't been to conventions, but I know people who have gone to a convention. So there's a couple of different ways people handle it. People who are, like the corporate VTubers, like we've been talking about with like Hololive and Nijisanji, they are under non-disclosure agreements and contracts. So they go as themselves, but they usually don't talk in case people will recognize their voice. They don't go to buy merch for themselves in case people like recognize their voice.
Hmm.
They'll go with like friends and have the friends buy the merch and stuff like that. So they're very secretive about it. And they won't even say that they've been to a convention until
Oh,
it's either ended or they're after.
so
Then
they'll
there are
they'll like hide. They'll just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Never been to a
right.
convention ever.
well, no,
Right. I mean,
not
no, they'll say
necessarily.
it afterwards.
They
Like they'll
just
be
will.
like, "Oh yeah."
They won't say, I
Oh,
like,
okay.
you know how people like hype it up, like, oh, I'm going to this thing, or whatever.
Mhm.
Oh,
They
okay.
won't do that, or they
won't let people know.
won't say, oh, I'm here, find me. You can if you can find me.
Right. Okay.
They just
Gotcha.
won't talk about it until until either they leave or the convention's over.
Mhm.
Well, would you not have like a booth or something like that if you were popular enough?
So the way
Well,
the way they do that, I can talk about this because I've
yeah.
been to
You
stuff
probably
like
know
this.
more about it than I do.
Is depending on how they do it. Like if you're Niji Sanji, Hololive, or like even V Shoujo, is they set up booths and they do it. They do it where they are streaming to the convention and display their VTuber avatar.
Oh,
And there's two different ways to do that.
That's interesting.
There is one way where the talent will stream from their home to the place, and they'll stream it, and they'll have a webcam, microphone set up, and the people will go have meet and greets with them and talk to them up front, or they can just do a panel as well. Panels are always an option as well, and I've actually participated in a panel with VTubers before, but
that's cool.
But and all they did was they were at
So
home.
they just put them on a screen, pretty much.
They streamed to my
giant screen.
They all streamed to my laptop, and I just displayed them on a screen. And I was the human there, and they were just streaming on. I was the human.
They just do like the hologram thing, like what the heck's her name? Miku or whatever.
Tatsuni
The
Miku?
Hatsune Miku, yeah, her, like, they'll have entire concerts where she's just a hologram, she's just,
You can
you
do
know, like
that
a
as well.
hologram on stage. They just
Yeah.
do that for the VTubers.
But
That'd
yeah,
be interesting.
it's
That'd be cool.
like that's the way you do it for panels. But like for like meet and greets, they'll have a screen set up where you can talk to them, and the camera shows where you are, and have a mic so you can talk to them. They can either be at home and stream to the site, or sometimes what they have done for certain people. This is more for indie. I don't know if any corporate's done this. I don't know for sure. But they've placed them either in the same building off-site, or in the same building in a different room, or off-site at the convention center.
They're just at home.
Look, no. The VTubers can't be at home, and that allows more VTubers to do more conventions because they don't even have to go to the conventions. But it was then at TwitchCon, and that's what I thought, possibly. Yeah, it's where the talent actually goes to the convention, and they're actually at the convention, but they are either on site in a different building, or they're in a different building that's in the convention city, just off site, and they'll stream towards the to the convention. So they're not showing their face at all, and they're still kind of incognito. But
they're still there.
But they can still do the meet and greets, and they're still possibly in person.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's kind of interesting.
But yeah,
so they can't. I was gonna say that'd be an awesome gig. You get to go to a convention without actually being like, you don't have to leave your house. You just
well, they've done it too, where they've done iPads as well. They have iPad robots that drive around. They've done that too.
That would be so funny.
I want to be an iPad robot one day. Actually, no. I think if I was to go to a convention in my copious amounts of free time, if I was to go to a convention, I think I would want to actually be there. I probably would tell people like, "Hey, I'm going to this convention," but not tell them, like where to find me or how to find me or who I am, unless you're like a really close friend or someone I know personally.
Well, there is a convention,
and then just sort of go and enjoy it in person that way.
Right.
Well, because it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see, because there is a convention happening in San Francisco in June. That is a full VTuber off-kai for anyone who doesn't know what it is.
Really?
That is happening in San Francisco, which is basically a full-on VTuber convention. Pretty much the one and only
a whole
dedicated
gathering of VTubers.
Which I'm going to.
So it's just that's cool.
But
it's just monitors everywhere.
Well, some of them are going in person.
It's a whole convention where there aren't any real people. That would be
weird.
Just everybody's just like iPads on like robots that are just like, hey, it's my favorite VTuber. Oh, hello.
Yeah, I've seen people with have friends go to the conventions, and they have the iPad and are showing them around. I've seen that too at conventions.
That's interesting. I mean, at what point is it just like a virtual convention where it's just like you might as well just be watching a stream?
That's the thing, is that a lot of, again, if you're indie, you can go to these things, and a lot of people do.
Right.
So it's only if you're if you can't afford to go, and you want to still participate in something, which is cool, because now you can participate without actually having to be there because of various amount of reasons. Or you're corporate and you can't necessarily go because you have obligations.
Yeah, there are also some VTubers who have like significant medical conditions that sort of prevent them from like going outside or experiencing the world as like we know it. So this sort of, I think in that way, this would allow them to sort of go and experience things that they normally wouldn't be able to, because of their condition or because of their real life circumstances as well.
Yeah, that's that's a big upside, I think, too. I mean, that would have been the perfect thing for like when COVID was, really huge. It's just like VTuber conventions. The less people there, the better. You just have like a few real life people, and that's it. You just like that. I'm all for less crowded conventions too. Honestly, I wish everybody was iPads sometimes. Just like that would definitely slow down. I guess would that increase the amount of time you have to wait in line, or would it decrease the amount of time you have to wait in line to meet your favorite personality. I guess it would increase because you'd have to wait for these like iPad robots and stuff to be like move out of the way and just like slowly move forward. Could you sign my face, please? You just go up to somebody in your uh mechanical robot thing. That was I think that's the future, guys. I think the future is uh everybody is just controlling a little iPad robot and they just move around in that everywhere.
I think that
Did you
can
ever see that?
I think it can happen, but I don't think that's the future.
Do you ever
Because people want to experience things. People actually do want to go physically experience
Yeah.
things.
Right. You ever see that Bruce Willis movie? Oh, what the heck was it called? Where everybody has like everybody sits at their home and everybody has like an actual avatar that they control like a robot pretty much that they control from like their house and nobody is actually out in the real world at all. I forgot what it was called, but it was really yeah, Jaios knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's like Bruce Willis is like at his house and the avatar he controls is just a robot but it has hair, which is really funny to me. Surrogates. Yeah, that was it. That's what it's called. Surrogates. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Uh
No.
yeah, yeah,
I haven't
it
seen it
was
either.
a really really weird movie where like yeah, everybody just sits in their house and they just control an avatar that is their persona they walk around
So,
as.
so I wanna jump off VTubing for just a second and talk about a little bit more about Astra because this kind of came up and we didn't go in depth about it and then you brought up being busy again. And
I want to jump off VTubing for a second.
well, like I do want to jump off for a second because I want to go into more depth to Astra just quickly because you talked about your busy schedule. We didn't really talk about what you do in your quote free time and your non-streaming time. What are you and what do you do?
Right. So in my non-streaming time, I am a full-time medical student. So I'm currently in medical school studying to be a MD, a doctor. I am in my second year, about to go into my Jesus, I'm about to go into my third. That's terrifying. Um, and I'm in my school does something different where it sort of does early clinical rotation. So right now I'm working in the hospital. It's definitely stressful just because it's, you have a full-time job pretty much that you're not being paid for and that you're paying to do. So I'm in the hospital pretty much full time, at minimum 8 p.m. to 5 or 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at max like 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. or so,
Ooh.
sometimes longer, depending on what rotation I'm in. And right now we're just sort of going through our different rotations. So I just finished psychiatry and I'm about to start neurology. But that's sort of what I do in my quote free time outside of streaming. So some people have streaming as a like a part-time job or something that they really want to do. Like a lot of the indie VTubers or even corporate VTubers have
Right.
streaming and VTubing as their full-time job. For me, it's more really just like a hobby, just because I don't have the time to
But
put
yeah,
into
being a
it.
full-time streamer
Being a
plus med
full-time,
school seems I don't know if that's even possible. I don't think it unless you're
it,
like streaming live from the hospital.
but yeah,
Oh, I'm
it's
getting a call. I
hard.
gotta.
I
Right.
mean, yeah, it's hard sometimes for sure. I don't get to stream as much as I would like to some weeks, but I think for me it's really just, a break from the stressful, busy life that I lead. Because it's hard having like a full-time job and then also being a full-time student is it's difficult.
Streaming while waiting for the operation.
Yeah.
Streaming all the way for an operation. I
Hey
mean,
guys, what's up? I'm about to do an
that's the nice thing
operation.
about
Just
being a VTuber is that you could theoretically. I would highly recommend against it, but
you're just
I
at the
want
hospitals
theoretically,
being a VTuber.
Wouldn't say I would do that, but you could, in theory.
I mean, yeah, you honestly you
Hey
could
guys, we're gonna
literally
play
be
Operation Simulator while I'm doing an operation.
Like
like
if you
surgeon
could get the
simulator
tracking to
too.
work, you could be a VTuber from from anywhere. You could just be doing whatever the heck you want and just
Well, it's the funny part about, if you ever seen those memes of people in meetings with the Zoom backgrounds behind them, just in the middle of a beach while they're in a Zoom
yeah.
meeting.
Oh man, I saw that just reminds me, I guess off topic a little bit, but this I think was it a TikTok I saw or something like that. It was a very disturbing image
You saw a
of
TikTok?
I know, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta learn what the kids are into these days.
That sounds
Um,
weird.
it was an image of streaming's a thing and a big thing in China and stuff like that. It was an image of just underneath like this dark dank bridge in the middle of the night, like
Say
in the
dank
rain, a
bridge?
bunch of people underneath it, all of them female streamers, all sitting there with like a little tiny setup. Like they had like these really nice clothes. They all looked pretty and get ups. They had their phones in front of them, but they had like each of them had like maybe a 4 by 4 foot section underneath this bridge where they would just be streaming uh to whoever, and there would be like 50 other people doing the exact same thing, and just like they had their own little section, so you can't tell that they're like doing this underneath a nasty looking bridge, and it's just very creepy and dystopian that was like uh, just to see that, it was so bizarre because there's just like 50 women all just talking underneath this bridge, and it was just like how how in the heck could you possibly it was just insane to me. I it was a very almost dystopian look at the future, and I don't like that. I don't ugh,
Can't
I
believe you
hope
said
we never get there.
dank.
Is
Can't,
that what you took away from
that's
that
what I took. You
that
can't see you said
that's what
dank.
that was the takeaway. You
Dank
said
bridge.
dank.
A nasty
You got
dank
you got
bridge.
some dank?
Like I don't think I've heard that word in forever, but it's just
The word dank?
nasty dank bridge. Like
Wh-
I think
What
it's been
else would I call
I think it's
I
been
mean,
years since I've heard
moist?
that one.
Would you have preferred I use the
Please
term
don't.
moist?
Please
Very
stop.
moist.
I'm gonna leave if you say that again.
Yeah, it was
the-
dark
Hate
and
it.
dank.
The reason I brought it up because I think the original topic up was because I think we should give props to Astra in the first place for being a medical student and doing what she's
Oh yeah, that's
doing right
I
now.
mean, yeah.
And obviously doing a little bit of streaming on the side as well. But just context of why Astra's so busy. There it is. But also give Astra props for being a medical student in the first
Yo.
place.
Yeah,
so
Like
that's
a dry.
crazy. Yeah, this is not easy.
yeah, no, one of our topics we were debating on was that schooling, and that's definitely a long, arduous path of schooling, and that I would never survive. Waffles.
You question your life choices a lot during it. Specifically during week 4 of
Yeah.
surgery, you really start questioning your life choices about whether you actually want to be a physician.
But
Well,
yeah,
it's definitely
But
not
yeah.
easy. I don't know if I could do it.
I know I couldn't. I barely survived 3 years of school. So not let alone medical school. But 3 years of business school. Let alone
Right.
medical. Like
Plus streaming and being a VTuber on the side. That's not an easy combo. That's pretty
and working at a hospital part time now.
right.
So
yeah,
Um,
it's a lot. It takes up a lot of my time for sure, but I enjoy it. I really like it. I it's something I've always wanted to be a doctor ever since I was a kid. So it's definitely hard at times, but when I like come home at the end of the day, there's really nothing else I'd rather be doing. So I'm glad. Like I said, for me, streaming is really more of a hobby. It lets me relax and take time away from my life. So I
yeah,
don't really
I get
consider
that.
like streaming to be like a job or like a burden, which is also why I don't have a schedule because
Yeah,
that would make it like a job, and I like to stream whenever
just whenever you
I
want to
want
chill.
to. So
Yeah.
yeah, whenever I want to chill.
Yeah, Waffles.
Um,
Schedules.
schedule. Yeah,
You
being
got,
you
yeah.
know you have to be on time and stuff, and it's just
How's that schedule?
yeah,
But yeah,
as I'm always on time. I don't know what you're talking about. As I have a very strict schedule that I am always adhering to because I am a very very punctual person. Yep,
Yeah,
definitely.
you're never late, right? Ever for
Definitely.
streams?
Never late for streams ever.
but yeah,
You
I
can
think
quote
that's
me on that.
I think that's where like everyone, like any streamers are all the same. Is a lot of people have separate jobs because not obviously it's really hard to make streaming a full time job. It's not very easy, and let alone having to pay for your model, which I think we haven't even talked about going into in some sort of when you're making a unique model and the cost of that, because
That's true,
that
yeah.
is not cheap.
No,
Let's
it's definitely
say that.
not. I was I was blessed to have this sort of be a gift um from one of my friends. So I didn't have to pay for the majority of it by myself. But I also saved up for a while. There are a lot of, I think, really good resources nowadays, um, to people who, especially who like people who want to start VTubing. I think that there are a lot of really good resources. There are a lot of really good free models that are very, customizable. Um, Whether it's like in hairstyle or hair color, whatever. But I think a lot of people sort of try and go for, and this is my sort of opinion, but I think a lot of people try and go for the model first and then see whether they like streaming after, which I think is a horrible idea. You should really start streaming. Like I was streaming for like, I don't know, a year before I even like got a model.
Yeah,
Um
that's a big investment for, to be like, "Ah, I don't know, maybe I'll like it." It's like, uh
yeah, definitely. It's definitely like a really big investment both in like time and in like, like I said, a lot of the software is free, but like the model itself is not. And it's a lot of work to make these sort of things. I mean, like every,
Mhm.
like if you like even, hold on, if I can pull myself up, right? Like if you look in my eyes, like even the little, like the constellations move and like every sort of little itty bitty thing moves. So it's really, it takes a lot of
It's really
effort.
detailed, it looks really good, yeah, it's
Yeah,
And for like
it costs a
context,
lot
incredible.
of fucking money.
yeah,
That's why it looks really
I was gonna say for
Yeah.
context, these things can cost like thousands of dollars. So like as much as
yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, there's the benefits of VTubing and not streaming. Well, yeah, you can use a free model, but if you wanted to get really custom and have a really dedicated kind of system, it's gonna cost you a lot of money for the
Yeah.
for just like the setup can be easy. A lot of people just use their phones and a lot of phone apps just do it, but the model in itself is unbelievably expensive.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
also
it's
depends on like
crazy.
who you get. So I was sort of very particular that I wanted this specific artist that, has drawn this model and my previous one as well. I was very sort of specific that I wanted her because I really liked her art style. And thankfully, like I got her at a time where VTubing wasn't all that popular. She was just sort of like starting out. um drawing VTuber models, so she wasn't overly like out of my budget at that point. But there are some people, like, if I think nowadays people sort of think of like the corporate VTubers as the standard, like standard of
Yeah.
VTubing, and so they want to go for that sort of model like right out the
Right,
bat,
the
and
really yeah, the
those are the ones that
Hololive
cost,
characters and
I
stuff like
yeah,
that.
cost
I
thousands of dollars both in art and in like just rigging, because that
I
takes a lot
Mhm.
of work too. So
sometimes I'm looking through channels and stuff and looking for people for my job and stuff, and I'm looking at channels, and these people with like 10, 15 viewers have like really expensive, like
Crazy advanced
really
setups,
good
yeah.
looking models and like crazy good looking models. And I'm looking at their channel details, and they just debuted or debuted like a little bit ago, and which means they're pretty fresh off the scene. And like their models are really good, and I'm just like, I can't imagine how much that's cost you just to start out with. And they're got so like they're in the grand scheme of things, pretty low viewership, and it's just like, wow,
Yeah.
that model is so advanced and looks so good. Can't imagine how much it cost you, and can't imagine that you're gonna make up for it in anytime soon, at least. Like,
Right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a big investment to make. Like to just be, is it going to work out? I don't know. And you just kind of throw it out
and to be
there.
fair,
Yeah.
some people do it just because, like,
I mean, some
as you
people
do
got the
streaming.
money and they just,
Yeah, well, I was gonna say,
it's
like, some
something
people,
they really want to do.
yeah, like some people do it like Astra for fun and just and don't care what it costs. They have the extra income or whatever the case is, and just want to do it, and that's fair enough. It's just you look from a different perspective, and it's just like crazy. And a lot of people
Yeah.
do it for streaming as well. Like, I can't say that I've haven't thrown some money into my setup, and I don't exactly stream at all anymore. So like
Yeah, I
I
think
make
that's
use out
what-
of it, but like I just had the extra kind of income and can do it, but it's
Right.
kind of
Yeah,
person's
I
choice at the end of the day.
think it's definitely person's choice. I think a lot of people underestimate that, people may come for the model, but they stay for the personality and they stay for your content. So like if your
Right.
personality isn't great, like if you never talk to chat, you're not really gonna get anywhere. Or
So
if your
before you go too deep into that, I'm
content,
going to add a question onto that.
uh,
How deep does your personality play into being a VTuber in possibly comparison to being someone else? Just being
oh, my person, this is what you get. Like I'm me. I would say I'm more open and I'm more like myself when I am streaming just because I have a lot of social anxiety, um, like in real life. So when and it's very easy to communicate with people. It's always been easier for me to communicate with people online. So like, on stream or off stream. On stream is a little bit more obviously because people are watching you, so it's a little bit anxious. But for me, like
Right.
what you see is what you get. Like this is me. This is me as a person. I very rarely, if at all, sort of, you know, delve into my VTuber lore or talk about my VTuber lore. I mean, I think the most thing I usually talk about is miso up on my head. Um,
Talk about your VTuber lore. You mean like
I
in
just
real life when you're walking around?
just like
Hey
like
guys,
how
I'm a
the
VTuber, by the way. Did you ever? Have
just
you
like
ever?
the references because
That'll
some
be
people really are like
35.99. Uh, I come from a black hole.
well, some people are very much like, oh, like I'm a celestial being. I was, born from the stars. I don't know anything. Like, what is internet? What is like, what are these? What
You
are
just never
those?
leave
Like,
character.
and they just don't leave character. Whereas for me, like, this is me. Like, the way that I am is on stream is the way that I am off stream. I'm probably a little bit, I swear a little bit more off stream, but the way I am is like this is just me.
I think I
This is who I
swear
am.
more on
Like I
stream
don't,
than I do in real life.
Really?
I don't.
Yeah.
That's
I
fair.
mean,
I don't think I've ever heard you swear off stream. I don't know if I've heard you swear off stream.
I have during
not a
Overwatch.
whole, not, I don't, yeah, it's mostly if
You're
I'm
the
playing like a competitive
you are
game
the
or
most
something like
you are
that.
the
I'll be
calmest
like,
person in Hunt. That's the thing. It's like
yeah,
when we're
yeah,
playing Hunt
competitive
together, it's
games
just
and
like
stuff, yeah.
like any of us would go like, and especially like even I go like I'm just like God damn it, like I'm like
Yeah.
I'm so upset when something happens and Waffles is just like ha, it's okay. And just like even if you're the first one to die and with your headshots again, you're like
I'm like,
you
oh,
get a
that
little bit
sucks.
angry, but you're not you're like you still don't go
Well, because
overboard.
like I'm there to have fun when I play games and stuff. It's like if I'm not having fun, what's the point even, right? It's I've unless I have aspirations of becoming like a professional competitive player in any of these games or something like that, then I would probably get frustrated. Like if I was like, trying to become, one of the best or something like that so that I can get on a team or something. Maybe then, but like other than that.
I am very competitive by nature. Again, background sports, doing a lot of sports. Everything's winning, about winning. I'm very competitive. I got a very competitive nature. Like I'll have my fun. That's why I don't get completely pissed at certain things. But I when I'm trying and something screws up, I'm not exactly the calmest person in the world because I got a very competitive nature to me.
Well, I think that's just natural human, like natural
Well,
response. Because if you're playing a competitive game,
it is, but I'm just saying the
you're
difference
playing
between
it to try.
between me and you. Like you don't have that as deep of a competitive nature as I do because that's more integrated in me than it is in you.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think also I think you're better able to take away and get better if you like can take a step back and like know what you did wrong if you're playing. I know this is we're getting way
I was
off
gonna say
topic
we're getting
again,
really off topic here, but like.
I mean,
Well, because
uh,
what like, obviously what we find in our games, we should probably stream a game together that's more competitive, me and you, because people will notice this very,
yeah,
very quickly, because of my competitive nature and the way I act. I take away a lot of information from certain games, especially when I'm spectating someone else. So a lot of times after something happens in a game with Waffles, I'm telling him something he can try to fix and improve on
yeah,
it in a way, because part of my nature for competitiveness and the way my brain is wired is, especially when I'm spectating, I notice a lot of things. So like if I die and Waffles is playing the game, and I'm spectating him, I take a lot of information away from the game that's at hand,
hmm
and then I feed it back to him, and after the events happen, it's just like, hey, you can do this better. This is the reason why, and kind of it go that way. And then, but that's just who I am. That's the way I take away information.
yeah. Well,
Yet
I
when
think
I
that's
ask
also it's
you,
easier. Go ahead, Astra. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, and yet when I ask either of you whether I should play, like, I don't know, in Overwatch, like what character I should play, both of you are like, "Oh, I don't know. Just play whoever you want.
Just play
Go for it.
whoever.
The thing
Just
about
play
the
whoever."
thing about Overwatch is I'm not as knowledgeable, and I'm not as
You just do
competitive
whatever you want.
and
Yeah.
competitive in that one. So I don't know as well, and it's when I don't have to make the decision too, because in that moment I'm making the decision for what my character needs to be as well. So if I was only watching you, I might be able to pick for you, but I don't. I'm trying to pick for myself, so my I can't multitask in that way.
That's also another
Ah, I
thing about
see.
it's always easier to look at somebody else and see what they could have been doing differently when you're like that's a big thing about streaming is it's so much easier to see what the streamer is doing wrong than it is for the streamer themselves to
Yes,
see
backseat
what
gaming,
they're doing.
backseat
Backseat
gaming.
gaming.
100%. Yep.
It's so much different when you are in the streamer chair because one naturally people just tend to there's so much things going on in their head when they're playing a game that they don't see things that is so much easier to see from an outside perspective. When I'm watching a replay of me playing a game, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I totally screwed up there, I should not have gone that direction. But when you're like right in the moment and you die, you're just like, well, that's probably because the other player did this or something like that. You never
Well,
like
you
you
can
don't
also
immediately think
what
about
I find when I'm playing games is that like I'm a lot more calm when because I'm not under pressure whenever I'm spectating someone, so I can
yeah, it's the
observe.
pressure that
That's
really.
true, yeah.
I'm not tunnel visioned when I'm playing a game. I'm
Mhm.
very tunnel visioned, like, and
Yep.
you'll notice in my gameplay, like if anyone's watched me play Siege before and spectating me watching play Siege, I'm very like when I used to play Siege, not anymore. Hunt's probably the more one now, but when I was playing Siege, my focus was very narrow, and even in Hunt now, my focus is very narrowed, and I get tunnel visioned very pretty easily. Like I use all the surroundings. Like I'm still fairly good. Like I'm not completely tunnel vision where I zone in on one thing only. But I get there's a certain
It's really easy to do though.
there,
It's
Mhm.
there is a
just human
certain
nature, I think.
there is a very certain radius when I'm under pressure in a game and I get very tunnel visioned. Whereas when I'm
Mhm.
spectating, it opens my doors up very much, and which is why I'm better as a leader.
Yeah,
And
every time I die in like Hunt, Brand's
well,
just like,
well,
you could
no,
have done this,
not
probably should have done that. And I'm
not
like,
even in
oh
just
wow,
not even when it,
thank
like
you.
not even when you die, like when you're actually playing the game. Like I'm listening to
Yeah.
the sound, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
you're giving me advice. You're just like, you gotta look this way.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, thank you.
because I can sense it a lot better. My senses work
Right.
a lot faster and a lot better when I'm not under pressure, and I can just bark out commands rather than doing stuff. Completely off topic. Like, we've gone pretty far off topic, but
Well,
that's what's
bringing
happening.
it back around, is there any like, I mean, is there big VTubers that like do really competitive games like that are just like only competitive game VTubers? That sounds
I'm
really
sure.
interesting to me. It's like a
I'm sure. I
VTuber
know
who
that.
goes the complete opposite end. It's not about the personality, it's about me kicking ass at this game.
I'm sure there is. There's a lot.
I'm sure there is.
There's a lot of Valorant people who do. There's a guy named Enviosity. He's a slime kind of VTuber who's
A slime kind of VTuber?
yeah, like he's got a green slime and he plays Valorant and he's basically just a good Valorant player. Like, his
Are some of the
personality plays into it, obviously. Like no one's gonna like if you're good, some people might watch you, but at the same time, you could be a faceless VTuber at that point, or not VTuber, faceless streamer at that point. But
Like, is it a humanoid slime or is it? That's if I could be like a
so
oh, it's
character
like a
as a
slime.
VTuber.
just
It's like
oh,
miso,
sorry. Yeah, just
like a
take
slime slime.
just take miso or the
Oh,
slime right
that's
there,
cool.
or that slime right there, and just make it green and just
Yeah,
put
I
it
guess
on the
you
bottom
don't
screen.
necessarily have to be a humanoid character as a VTuber. Like, you could be literally anything. That's the glory of it.
There's dogs, cats, not humanoid ones, just straight up dogs, cats. There's
Yeah, yeah, you could just
there's a
literally
banana.
be anything
I've
you
seen a
want.
banana.
Yeah. I've seen a banana.
That's why you would work as VTuber, is because if you just made a waffle and had it
Yeah, you could just
animated,
make a sentient waffle.
and
A
had
face on
it
it.
rigged. Yeah, had it rigged, like literally like your waffle on your hat right there. Like if you just had it rigged, that could be your VTuber. You don't even have to
add
rig it.
some-
You could literally be a 2D. You could be a PNG VTuber, and
Add some
that
boobies
would
to
be
it.
fine.
Blam.
Yeah,
Easy marketing.
there you go. Easy marketing.
I'm a waffle with boobs.
10K
Watch
viewers. 10K
Waffles
easy
for
10,
boobs.
easy 10K viewers.
Anime girl waffle chan.
Oh, Waffle Chan. No longer Squaffles. It's Waffle Chan.
Oh god. There's a popular VTuber who's just a mini turtle, Chandler says. Yeah, yeah, you could literally I think if I yeah, yeah, you could literally be anything. If I was a VTuber, I'd almost want to just be like a weird monster or something like that, just to be special because it's so
I think
everybody's an anime character,
Well,
right? You could just be
Yeah.
like
I think part of that is the ability, or is the luxury, I guess I should say, of being a VTuber, is you can literally it allows your creative mind to go to lengths.
Yeah, and speaking on the subject of being special, I think that, everyone has their sorry, I'm readjusting. Oh, I think everyone has their little bit that they put into their model to sort of be special. I mean, like,
Mhm.
God knows that there's like a bajillion, like celestial themed VTubers out there. So in terms of like what makes me special, like Miso is one of them. The fact that like I'm wearing like, part of a sari is one of them. Um my like more specifically like my mouth in terms of like the model, like this is just my resting face, whereas like most VTubers have the resting face be like a smile. And I was like, I don't want to do that. So I think it's important to inject part of your personality into it in order to make it feel more special and more unique. 'Cause like you said, like there's like everyone's an anime girl at this point. So it's like what makes me different than the bajillion other anime girls out there?
Right.
I like to think for me personally, like Miso and the star, like the hair star, are sort of my signature pieces that I like to carry through. So I like to think that those are my sort of specific ones. Um but
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's hard now. Like it's a lot harder nowadays, which is why I think a lot of people are sort of going towards like non-humanoid things or
Being
just
a
like
banana.
more unique things because it's difficult
It's hard to
when everyone
distinguish,
well
yeah.
there we go yeah when everyone has pretty much the same anime girl-esque
Yeah, I
face.
mean, originally as VTubing was, like, coming out, just being a character was like, being a VTuber was unique, like, it was niche, there wasn't a lot of it, um, and
Well,
that
it's
wasn't
like
even that long ago,
yeah,
that was,
no,
like, a couple
it's
years ago, and
you
that was
didn't
it.
have to have this
Yep.
kind of lore background anymore. It was just
Yeah, it was
here's
just,
an
like
anime looking character. That's who I am. That's literally
Hmm.
it. And now it's
yeah, and
you
the
have
tech's already come such a long way in such a short time, and it's kind
Yeah,
of crazy to me that
it's
it
kind
didn't
of
even exist, 5 years ago.
it's kind of sad that I think that, a lot of people who want to start being a VTuber feel like they have to have like, a super fancy model, or like even just for like quote debut, like they have to have like a a video showcasing their debut, and they have to have like a whole like PowerPoint presentation. Now I'm saying this as a girl who had a PowerPoint presentation at my debut. But
Yeah.
I think it's like it's sad that
Is
people
that a
just
normal
can't
thing, the
De-
debuting thing that
Debuts
you
is
uh,
such a huge thing nowadays, and it's
such a
crazy.
huge thing nowadays, and I feel like it shouldn't be, because honestly no one wants to sit through a 30-minute PowerPoint presentation about me. Like I don't even want to sit
I
through a
liked your
30-minute
debut. I
PowerPoint
remember seeing
presentation
it. It
about
was
me.
fun. I mean, if you
That's
make
it.
it
I
fun.
well, I think this is the thing is debuts are good things, especially for certain people, but it's just there's so much importance put on it, and that's probably a
Mhm.
little bit overboard.
Yeah,
Way
I
too
don't
overboard.
think it's not about how you for streaming especially, I think it's not about how you first present yourself because everybody's a scuff streamer at the start. Nobody is going to start off
Well,
great.
I don't even think it's that waffles. It's not that it's like it's someone's thinking they're gonna be messing up. It's the way they
Yeah.
present themselves in terms of just this is who I am. This is kind of what I like as a
Mhm.
character I am. It's basically trying to shove like hours and hours of like some kind of lore content or pre-roll into your face within an hour or half an
Yeah.
hour or however it
I
is.
Yeah,
I
just a
just
lore
I feel
dump
like,
pretty much. My
yeah,
my
I think
favorite part of every
Yeah,
video
it,
game and movies is the lore dump.
yeah,
Love that.
it's literally
yep.
like just like that. It's like trying to shove like a full anime series at you in 1 hour or less. Like that's like basically what it's
Right.
trying to do. Like it's not that oh I'm not set up. And part of that is the issue
Is
is that
is the date
people think they're
Go ahead,
gonna be
sorry.
so scuffed, so they try to make sure everything's perfect beforehand. Whereas it's like you
Mhm.
should like that you don't need to get to that point. You can start streaming and then work your way up. But like I think it's the fact that people want to have a good first impression and that's
I
it.
think it's because, yeah, I think it's because I mean, I think it comes back to the thing that we were talking about with corporate VTubers sort of setting the gold standard, right? Like when
Right, that's true.
Hololive or Ninja Sanji, when their VTubers debut, like they have a full-fledged, like, 15-minute animation video that's played at the beginning, and then they have this like really slow roll, and everyone is like really hype about it. So I think people want to
Mhm.
go off of that because they think they're going to get the same sort of reaction
Yeah,
to it.
it is the
Whereas, like,
standard.
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like people should just start. I mean, like I said, like even when I started, like VTubing, I didn't use my own model. Like I used a downloaded model off of like VTube Studio like workshop that was free for like the better part of like 6 or 8 months. If people have been around since the very beginning, like they know the one with like gray hair that was like it had the it still had the hair star, funnily enough, but
Right.
I think I think people put so much pressure on themselves in terms of, oh, like if I don't do this, I'm not going to be successful, or I'm not going to have fun because, like I want to have these numbers. And I think that that's just really sad in my perspective. Like I don't know. I've always sort of seen streaming and VTubing and just everything in general as a way to have fun. And if it works out as a career, then great. But if it doesn't, then that's okay too. Especially
I
since nowadays the whole market is super saturated.
I definitely think
It's
that's the
really hard.
mindset you need to have as like an independent, and that's a big difference. I think um, is you know you have to distinguish yourself as independent versus the corporate VTubers and stuff like that, which they have a lot of backing behind them and things like that, and the pressure to just succeed is different than someone who's just being an indie streamer and just like starting off on their own. You can't you've got a lot of people behind you as corporate, whereas these indie people don't. There's literally it's just yourself throwing yourself out there, and to expect too much out of just one person is like so easy to do. I feel like with like these debuts and stuff, backtracking a little bit, as someone who doesn't know a lot about VTubing, is the debut usually where they just like throw most of the lore of the character at you, like, right when they start out? Is that usually what it is, or
So
is it just like
there's two types of debuts, kind of. There is the first ever debut, which is basically whenever someone starts up a new channel and starts streaming as a VTuber. Some people do the transition where they've streamed before and now they're doing a VTuber debut. But there's a lot of people who just go, "Hey, I'm doing a VTuber. I'm now a VTuber, or I'm starting out streaming and now this is my debut," and that's where they shove kind of their presentation in your face, which is basically who they are, kind of their background, what their likes and dislikes are as a person or as a character or whatever they decide to do, whether that's real or not. That's kind of up to their persona and what they want to do, and go like, here's the games I play, here's the kind of personality I am, and they just shove all this kind of stuff in your face. And again, the issue with corporate is that a lot of corporate VTubers will shove an additional like music video or something additional into that to show off talent,
some entertaining media or something like that,
to show off talents or something. Sometimes indie falls that, but more than likely not, because they can't afford that, because that stuff's animated and timed and so on and so forth. And then there's the second one, which is just a new model debut, which a lot of people put the focus on into as well, which is insane, where they debut a new model, which is the whole focus is just on the model. Sometimes their lore changes and certain things happen, but most of the time the lore stays the same. It's just a new model and it's unique in some.
It's just interesting to me because you'd never see that out of.
I got a new face.
A flesh tuber, right? Like, I certainly did not have a debut when I started streaming. I'm not like, hey guys, it's me. I'm Waffles for Jumps. I play video games, and here's what I play and stuff like that.
I think again, that's like Astra was saying, it's the gold standard set by corporate VTubers. I don't think you would have ever seen this when they first started, but corporate VTubers started it, and they to show who they are, because the only thing you can care about them is who they are as a character. So that's because again, they can't show necessarily their human personality. Like, although their personality goes into streaming, they have to just display a certain kind of standard. So that's the way they are. Now Indie's taking it to as they have to do it if they want to become just as big or have success.
It's also strange to me that there's whole corporations around the VTubing and stuff like that. I mean,
it's not that surprising, because like, again, you have like it's just now you have people dedicated to that, whereas traditionally you would have a management team or an esports organization backing you. It's just now the management agency is tasked as the VTuber agency. It's just it's different name change and a different kind of set of rules, whereas sometimes VTuber agencies have to provide models and stuff.
It's just because like to an extent there's managerial companies for streamers and stuff like that, but not to the level that the corporations manage VTubers. It's like
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say not the level, because there are levels that management agencies will go to, especially esports organizations will go to display their content creators.
I
guess that's true.
It's just gotten so saturated and normalized now that you don't notice it because it's so normalized. But you'll see management agencies and esports organization flood people's things with their content creators because they want to display their content creators and provide it. It's especially the best comparison is esports organizations, because they want their name out there. They want people to come to watch to be dedicated to a certain team. Which is the same thing as VTuber agencies, where they want it to be dedicated to the one brand. So you go watch the other brand names under it. Same thing with esports organizations. They want you to be dedicated to one brand. So you go watch other content creators, or go watch their team.
Yeah, I think especially in Japan with Hololive and Nijisanji, it's more about, especially in Hololive specifically, it's a lot about the idol culture in Japan and what the idol culture looks like. Like, if you ask, I'm sure if you ask like anyone in Hololive, but Hololive is supposed to be like the idol agency, right? They're not like a VTuber corporation. They're an idol corporation where they put out like VTuber idols. So
Right.
I think that's also like a big thing.
That does play into it as well. Because again, you look
Sort
at
of
Right.
like
you look
plays
at
into it.
Japanese idol you look at Japanese idol kind of industry, and that's another level of insane.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's definitely a lot of it seems to be modeled off of the Japanese idol industry, which is a whole different beast, which is
That's an entirely different level of things.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That could be its own podcast topic on its own,
yeah,
quite
that
frankly.
Well,
that's insane.
if we
But
It's
ever
so
did that, we'd have to
bizarre to
find someone
me.
who actually knows more about that, because that would be an insane
yep.
topic to go in depth to, because the standards and the pressures that are put onto idols in Japanese culture is
Oh yeah,
nothing like North American culture.
it's like not even showing a person. It's like showing, here's our doll we've created. Here's our, mascot that we've made for us. Enjoy. It's like not even a person at that point. It's just, an entirely different being. It's so
Same thing with
uh
K-pop as well. Holy shit!
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so
Mhm.
dehumanizing almost in a way that's kind of terrifying a little bit. And that's again, um that kind of corporate pressure you should not put on yourself
Oh God,
as an
Astra.
Uh,
You're having like some kind of spasm. It looked like.
yeah, your
oh,
your
sorry.
your character's
I
like
was See, okay, this is
You
the
were like
downside of being a VTuber, is that when you take a drink, you lose tracking. So
that
your
was
model tends to like
Yeah.
that was fantastic, because you were literally
spaz out.
probably taking a drink, and you were like looking, you were having like an existential crisis. You were just being like,
I
oh
mean, I'm
God.
always having an existential crisis, let's be honest. But
But yeah, the individual, the pressure on individuals to keep up with the way corporate kind of companies handle things is just not, yeah, it's just not feasible. You can't hold yourself to that standard.
Not
It's
as an
just
oh,
indie,
definitely not.
not as an indie.
No,
no,
because
it's
they
and a
have
lot
so
of
much
people think they
behind them
have
as
to.
well.
So much money, so much, so many
Yeah,
people,
Mhm.
so
you gotta put out a
like, how-
debut. You've got to have music videos. You got to have blah blah blah. It's like no, you
Yeah.
just
I think also like in terms of debuts, especially, circling back to what we were talking about new model debuts, I think it depends on, again, a lot of it is just very dependent on like the person behind the like quote character, right? Like for me, the reason why I had like such a long like sort of debut for this model, my newest one, the one that I've been using, is
Mhm.
because I want to showcase. It's not because like I want to showcase like, oh, like look at all my toggles, look at all like the features I have, look at how much money I spent on this. Like that's not what it was
Look
for.
at
It
how
was
much
like,
money
like
I
how much?
spent.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
mean,
good.
at the end of the day, it's kind of look at how much money,
uh,
but it was a lot of
yeah.
like, multiple people have put a lot of work and a lot of effort into
Mhm.
creating this, not just me, because I came up with the idea for it, sure, and I came up with like, I'm the one who has the final say, but like, there's the artist, there's the rigger, there's anyone else who has like, any sort of like say there's the people who gave me feedback, like stuff like that. A lot of it is just like let me show for me at least, it was like let me showcase the work that's been put into this because quite frankly, like no one, especially for, bigger VTubers than me, and I'm sure even for like me, a lot of people like don't know who my model artist is, don't know who my rigger is, but like I do, and this is my one and only opportunity for me to get to showcase their
To,
work and
yeah.
name them without like it being weird in the middle of a stream, because other than that, especially in, even like really really big indie culture, like no one tells you, like no one mentions like, oh, this is my, VTuber mama or VTuber papa or whatever, other than like the credits.
Right.
I was gonna say
So I
the
think that's
mo
like,
the,
I think that's why people want to take the advantage, like people want to take advantage of that because it's your one chance to like showcase like this is all the work that was put into it.
Is that how the uh, VTuber
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Mom,
that
looks
mom,
at
I
their
always thought
looks
that
at the
was
artist who
interesting.
yeah,
created them?
yeah. Mama is
Hello,
usually
father.
the artist. Mama is usually the artist, as far as
Uh-huh.
I know. As far as I'm aware, Mama is usually the artist,
Mom
and
is the
Papa
artist.
is like the rigger, like the one who like makes it come to life.
Are those usually two
But
separate people?
They are two set. So they can be the same person
Astra's
if it's someone
collapsing.
who's,
Oh,
like very
there we go.
advanced in both technology. I have lost. There we go. Hi.
You cut out
Yeah,
there
Hi.
for a
yeah,
second.
you were
Sorry.
collapsing.
Technical difficulties. I had technical difficulties. See, another struggle. Okay, well, this is just really just me. 'Cause I just have technical difficulties and everything. But
That's
um,
okay.
they can be the same person but it takes a lot of time to one be an artist who can do this, because every individual piece has to be, symmetrical and different and on a different layer and stuff like that. And two, like live 2D is just a beast. It takes forever to learn. It's a lot of effort to learn, especially how to do fancy things like, get the glare on my glasses, get the constellations to move on my face, stuff like
Live
that.
2D being the program they use to rig the model.
To rig the model, yes.
Yeah.
Live 2D is the program they use to rig the model. For 2D VTubers, for 3D, I think it's Blender is what they use. But I'm
It makes
not 3D,
sense.
so
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay.
well versed in that, but it's the same thing as like VR chat models, I think. But it takes a lot more effort. So most of the time people have two different people, like one person who creates the model and one person who like rigs it and makes it move. But it can be the same person as well.
Okay, so usually it's two separate people, and one's the mom and one's the dad.
Yeah.
That's
Usually
funny.
mama is usually the one who
They
makes the
created
model.
me.
That's basically what it is, because they did.
I mean, yeah, they did. They did
Yeah,
create
that's
me.
that.
Like I
That is the
wasn't
idea. That is the idea at the end of the day.
You're a flesh tuber. It's just your real mom and
I mean,
dad.
like it's kind of, if you like think about it too hard, it's a little bit weird how far culture goes. Because like
Yeah.
honestly, like I have VTuber siblings that I talk regularly to, and like we have nothing in common other than the fact that like our like models were drawn by the same person. Like
Yeah.
great
So does that
people. So
make you
obviously I've
siblings?
gotten, yeah, so we're siblings. So I have a couple of siblings who are really cool. That I mean I talk to them now because I like I'm, friends with them, but a lot of it is like very strange. And yeah, also the one who's making the model might not have like the skills or knowledge to rig it, because learning live 2D takes like months, even to do like
Oh, okay.
to do like a basic one that is just like, like just move left and right and move up and down and stuff like that just takes like
Right. I
a
guess, yeah, that
while
would
to
be
learn.
a
So,
lot. Not just making the art, but
mhm.
Well, you have to make.
attaching the movements to the art.
What I was
Essentially,
gonna
it's got
say
to
is
be
like
a
rigging
huge
is an
effort.
entire different thing, because you have to make sure everything is able to basically
Right.
move and not
Mhm.
be too janky or anything, especially if you want to make it look good and make money worth.
And even
worth
then,
it.
it's not
Mhm.
perfect. Like you said, you like freak out when you like go to take a drink or something like that. Your
I
character
don't think that's
model's
as
like,
much as
That's
rigging. That's more
that's
tracking.
not the rigging. Yeah, that's
oh,
not
is
the
that
rigging.
tracking?
That's tracking. Is because it loses, because the tracking software, it captures my face, right?
It's basically
And
like
it
when you do VR.
transfers.
Tracking is a whole separate
It's
beast
like
from
VR
rigging.
chat.
It's like when you
Yeah,
do
it's like
your VR
VR
and you
chat.
lose tracking because you're out of the
Okay.
area, or you can't, cameras can't see
Yeah.
you. It's
The
like that.
they don't like
Yeah, it's like
the
that.
arms. The arms aren't tracked. That'd be
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know if there's like a VTuber who has like actual arms
There is. There is.
for
It does
their.
exist. You can have I don't think you can have arm tracking, but you can have hand tracking for sure. But again, like it costs a bunch of money, because you have to have each finger individually on a different layer, and you have to rig each finger on a
Yeah,
different
I know
layer
it exists
in a
for
bunch of
3D
different
models, but for
positions.
2D models, I can
So,
imagine it'd be difficult.
yeah, it exists, but it's definitely a lot more work, which is why like,
Yeah.
stuff that's just like it just is a lot more, it's a lot different, and a lot of things are still like being experimental. Like I remember it wasn't that long ago that like VBridger came out, which is a different software it has like more advanced facial tracking, where it's like cheek puff for like chewing, or tongue tracking. People have tongue tracking
Tongue
now.
tracking? I'm sorry.
Yep.
But yeah, did Arya not show that when she was
Eh.
on last week? Because Arya has tongue
Oh, they
tracking.
showed us now.
I know Arya for a fact has tongue tracking. One
The
hundred
character
percent.
sticks its tongue out when you stick your tongue out.
If you
Yeah, it
watch
does.
if you watch Johnny streams Waffles, you'll see it sometimes.
He's
See
got
it. You'll
tongue
even see like
tracking too.
the hand arm tracking where if he has it on, like he can move his hands in front of
Nose
his
picking tracking. You can track when you pick your nose.
theory. Yeah,
Yeah.
in theory, yeah.
Exactly, pretty
Your
much.
anime nose. It'd be really weird looking for an anime character because they like don't have human
They don't
noses.
listen,
Look around here.
I have a shadow of a nose.
You just see the finger disappear into their face.
I have a hold on. I have a shadow of a nose. It's you can
Yeah,
it's right here. I have
yeah.
a nose,
Anime characters don't
kind of.
have nostrils. I don't know how they breathe.
I mean, to be fair, I'm a celestial being, so I
Yeah,
don't
that's true.
really.
Yeah,
I there's
maybe
no
all
oxygen
anime
in
characters
space.
are
If you needed to
celestial
breathe, there would be
beings.
an issue.
Anime
If I
characters are
need to breathe,
gods. They
there'd be
don't
a
need to breathe.
problem. Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy that they're coming out with like, Flygo saying there's experimental arm tracking and stuff like that. Like, can you imagine where the technology is going to be in even just a few years? Just because it's come so far
Mhm.
already to like you're gonna have, you know, a whole ass people in two-dimensional anime form just doing anything a normal person could do, it's crazy to me that we've come this far. Even like, you know VTubing and all that stuff. Like I said, it's not even that old. It's very very recent, and the technology is just like it went from just like one person having like just like a talking face to like this whole industry that's just taken off kind of. And
Yeah.
yeah, to think about like how crazy it's going to be in the future where you're just going to have a whole people that just aren't even real people. It's crazy to me. That's nutso.
Yeah, I think the line between 2D and 3D especially is like being blurred a lot because a lot of people want 3D models based off of, 2D references. There are entire like 3D artists who specialize in like making your 3D model look 2D. And there are entire like fields in that. So I think the line is definitely going to be blurred. I think at the end of the day, it's it's a lot up to preference whether you wanna stay 2D or 3D. I like 2D better just because I like the look of it better. And in
Yeah.
terms of, like, where the technology is gonna go, like, I think eventually it's gonna end up being the same as 3D. I mean, people already have, like, not entirely like, "Oh, I'm walking and you can see me do this," but they have hand tracking, and then they have toggles for, like, where it looks like you're walking. I've seen VTubers who, when they're playing like a horror game, their VTuber character like has a flashlight and the flashlight moves depending on whether in game they move
That's
their
funny.
camera like up or down, like if they're playing like Phasmo or
Oh, that's
Demonologist
cool.
or
Yeah, you
something
can
like
have
that.
all sorts of little things like
You
that.
can have all sorts of things. So I think at the end of the day, like eventually in the future, it's really just going to come down to preference, whether you want
Yeah.
to look
I
2D or whether you want to look 3D. I think a lot of it is gonna be like that. But obviously, if you want
I
to
think
use
2D is harder. Yeah, I think 2D is a little more difficult to do well,
yeah.
but it looks better to me. Like I always find 3D anime characters just a little jarring, just because I don't think the art style was made with three dimensions in mind. A lot of
Mhm.
like,
I
even just
agree.
like the nose situation and stuff like that is just it looks different in 2D than it does in 3D, and it's like
You don't like
very
my nose waffles?
no, I think it looks better as a
You don't
two-dimensional
like it.
character.
Are
It
you saying you
looks
don't like my
strange as a
nose?
three-dimensional character. Because I think as you get into another dimension, it becomes more uncanny valley where you start to realize that the anime character is like not human. Whereas if it's 2D, it's just like, oh, it's stylized. It's a stylized drawing. Um,
Mhm.
but
Depends how far you want to take it, because you have people like Code Miko does complete tracking, because she has a full body suit that she wears for VTubing, and like it tracks perfectly because it's basically like it's literally a full body suit for tracking.
Yep. A
So
lot of
like,
the
and
corporate VTubers have that as well.
that's like complete realism and stuff like that. Like that, like some of the models are unbelievably good, and like it's just the way it is. That's expensive and far, I know, like far beyond, but like that's how it goes. That's literally the distance they'll take it.
Deadly says, I think the big difference with 2D and 3D VTubing software is that the 3D software is a lot more open for developers, while the 2D software is extremely encapsulated and closely guarded by a few companies. That's why the majority of new developments happen for the 3D ones. Is it not about the style? It's mostly just about like what companies own which softwares and stuff like that. I can see that. That makes sense. It's yeah, Blender's a little bit more open than something like you know, live 2D, which is a totally different, like, everybody knows what Blender is. I was working with Blender when I was like 16 years old, and we had Windows 95. So, Blender's been around for a little bit longer, whereas something like,
Mhm.
live 2D has been around for literally just a couple years since VTubing took off and stuff like that. So, yeah, I can kind of get that. Also, Flago is like, wow, Waffles doesn't like the nose. I love the nose. I like the
Waffles
anime nose. I
Waffles
think it
hates
just looks
noses.
strange.
Waffles hates my nose.
Waffles
It's
Noted.
hates
just
Astra's nose.
it's just different because if you impose a person's face, and for instance, they go to pick their nose, it looks
Why is
it
that the
looks
one you?
different.
Why
And
why is
Why
that
would
you're
because
defining your?
because that's the only way a
Why?
human really
Wait,
interacts with their
but why
nose.
is that the
why would you want
defining
to
thing?
watch someone pick their nose also? Like
Because
I
how
could be
else do you
picking my nose
interact with
the
your
whole time.
nose? You pick it, and that's about
Oh
it.
my
I guess you could blow it, but that'd be pretty easy. You just cover it up with a tissue, and it wouldn't matter. But picking your nose, now that's a whole different beast right
But why
there.
is that the
Because
decider? Why does it matter if you can see someone pick their nose? Like,
I almost want to go on Google and see anime characters picking their nose.
Do you have a fetish?
Waffles got a nose picking
No, it's
fetish.
just
Do you
it's
have a
just
nose picking
interesting to
fetish?
me because that's not like their nose obviously has no nostrils, right? It wasn't
I think you
designed
have a nose picking
for
fetish. You want
interaction.
to see me or like Arya pick our nose. I feel like you should seek some help.
It's almost like the nose on anime characters is like a vestigial body part that doesn't matter. Like it's just there to make them look more human. Like
Wait, isn't that the point?
Oi!
Isn't that the point of anime? Is them
Well-
not to go pick their nose?
See, the nice thing about being a VTuber is that I could be picking my nose, and someone like Waffles who wants to see me pick my nose, wouldn't even know.
Again, we go back to the idol culture. Is the idea not to see your idol go pick their nose?
Pretty
Or,
much,
or,
yeah.
or,
I
or
mean,
do you want to go see your idol, your favorite idol, Waffles, go pick their nose?
I'm looking up anime characters picking their nose.
Yeah, he's got. All right, so it was Rule 34 apparently, according to Astra. After last stream, I didn't watch the last stream, but apparently Waffles went to go look at that after stream. Now it's gonna be nose picking after stream for Waffles on this one.
Okay, so what I'm seeing after googling it is they suddenly develop nostrils when they go to pick their nose. Suddenly, like mid-scene, the nostrils
Why
will
does it matter?
appear on the nose.
What point does this have right now?
Well, this all comes back around because that'd be harder to rig, right? You'd like if you had
But why would you want to? What's the point of rigging it?
because the more you can make the avatar look human and do human things. It was in reference to like how far technology is coming, right? Like the more it can be human, the more uh the more problems you run into. Like, for instance,
But it's almost
So
a
if someone
problem.
picks their nose,
It's
it's a problem.
It's almost a problem to invest like the time to do something that's not very prevalent in the long run. Like it's like you could, like, I'm sure that you could now, and I'm sure that as technology develops you possibly could, but it's almost a problem that doesn't really need to be solved.
Well, no, the nose picking one was just me.
But that's the problem, is I don't understand why you're going on this nose picking spree. Like,
Jesus
so I'm
Christ.
mostly
This
talking about like
podcast has
arms
really
and being able
gone
to move your
downhill, huh?
fingers and stuff like that, and how the difficulties of making a two-dimensional character work with a three-dimensional person, and like how as it continues on and we get more and more details about these 2D avatars, like hands and fingers. Like, fingers extremely notoriously hard to animate. It's really hard to make a person's fingers. That's why, like, in a lot of older cartoons and stuff like that, they only have 4 fingers, because you don't it's really hard to animate. The more fingers there are, the harder it is to animate and rig and stuff like that. So like, mostly it's just like the more human the avatars become, the more difficulties and challenges it's going to run into. So it makes me wonder, like, how fast is the rigging and the stuff like that going to develop? Are we going to eventually have like full blown anime characters that are just superhuman and like have full finger dexterity and hand and arm dexterity?
you already
They
have
can
that.
pick their nose.
Well, okay, maybe not that far, because again, a problem that's not necessarily being solved. But yes, you do already have that technically. Like I said, if you look up Komiku, like literally, it's full body tracking, and like to almost like a T. Like it's like it's insane. Like the technology and the rigging that is gone into it, because it's literally like the entire body is just
Same for like
set
some
up.
other like big VTubers as well. Yeah,
I-
so it's definitely already in existence.
I think a lot of other VTubers who do it stick with the traditional sense. I think Komiku goes a little bit beyond by doing like a full humanoid kind of thing, whereas a lot of other VTubers I've seen do a lot of standard kind of anime style still.
Chandler put hashtag VTubers picking noses. The newest Twitter trend.
Yeah, that's what Waffles wants going. That's what
Deadly
that's what Waffles
what
joined
Waffles
Twitter for.
wants.
He wants to see that's go on.
Deadly also says, I mean,
Listen.
technically speaking, it's not actually that complicated. All you do is on the 2D side is you have a rig that you project from the 3D space onto a 2D plane. It's just some simple vector mass. Yeah, simple vector mass, obviously. Of course that's what it is.
Listen, if VTubers picking noses is what it takes to be human, I don't want to be human. I'm very happy being a
Hey,
celestial,
sometimes we gotta
non-human
pick our
being.
noses. It's being human means you gotta pick your nose. You gotta
Well,
fart.
I'm a celestial being, so I do none of
Just be
that.
glad that's not where I went.
I do none of that.
Hashtag VTubers farting.
What does that even mean?
Okay, well, on a more like, I guess we're just gonna gloss over the whole nose thing, which I still think it's important to have nostrils.
Yes,
as
because you're a
human being.
fetish apparently.
But
All right, go on.
Facial expressions also, a person's facial, there's a lot of subtlety to like facial expressions and stuff like that that you aren't going to be able to, right now at least, you can't capture as well with a
Mhm.
VTuber versus, you know, an actual person.
Not
There's
as
so much subtlety to
not as
facial
well, but
expressions.
it is getting very scary, because like Astra was
Yeah.
saying, like V-Bridger like can do
Mhm.
this tongue tracking in it, and like the expressions are all done by the face and just large movements. So subtlety, yeah, it might not be like small things, it might not be as good as, but it's surprisingly good.
Like,
Yeah,
says
so like
most people have a VTuber foot fetish, but Waffles is nose picking. It's not. I don't have a nose picking fetish. I was just saying.
I think he
okay,
might.
yeah, we all know you have a nose picking fetish. Anyway, as we were saying, yeah, so like for example, I'm using V-Bridger right now, and this is sort of a older model in terms of like it's not where I mean, first of all, it's not where V-Bridger, is in terms of all the capabilities, but like it has like jaw movement. It can like if I puff my cheeks a
Mhm.
little bit, it can do that. I don't have the tongue tracking because I'm not a fucking weirdo. Um,
Tongue
because why
fetish.
would I need? Why would I need to?
Hashtag VTubers
Why would
sticking
I
tongues out.
need? Why would I ever need tongue tracking? I just don't understand. I don't understand.
To appeal like
But
people like Waffles,
like it's
who enjoy
that's
No,
why
nose
I
no,
picking
you
as
need
I
well.
no,
don't
you
have
need
it.
nose picking,
That's why
not
I
tongue
don't
tracking.
have it, Bran. I don't have it for that reason. But it definitely is getting a lot better and a lot more realistic, at least in the 2D space. And like Bran said, in the 3D space, there are like very realistic um VTubers who have like very realistic tracking. So I think that's part of the price that you pay in order, for like you wanting to stay anonymous for whatever reason. I think that's part of, you have to pay some sort of a price, and part of it is the, extended like micro expressions. It is definitely getting
Right.
better, but I think part of it is just like you're gonna have to put up with not with being able, losing tracking if your technology loses power, or you're gonna have to just deal with having not as great facial expressions if you want to stay anonymous. And as far as like, I think the people who want to be VTubers, so people like me, for example, like they are willing to put up with that. But it's for sure one of the downsides.
Deadly says, I think where it gets a little funny is with those super high res 2D VTuber models that are actually 3D models, just rendered into 2D to make them look like 2D. Oh, okay. So they just kind of like make a 3D character, but it's like they make them look 2D. Well, I guess that's kind of what rigging is in general, is like taking a 3D person and making them look like a 2D character. It allows for body rotations and stuff, so it's getting a lot more popular. Yeah, it's interesting. Like that's what I was saying. Like, how subtle are we going to be able to get those facial expressions? And I don't think it's a limitation of the art style, because I've seen some anime characters do some pretty subtle facial expressions that are like, if you get a really high quality anime, like they do some like you can track a lot of facial expressions
Hmm.
with anime characters. It's not just a limitation on the art style, it's a limitation on the
Yeah.
budget for the
I
anime.
think I think it's definitely, yeah, a limitation on the budget. Like there are people like, people who like they're indies and corporate VTubers, particularly in, places like VShojo where they, pay for their own models and stuff. But they have really, really advanced models with really, really advanced tracking that other people just can't do because they have the budget for it. I mean, some of those models cost like over like $15,000, which the majority of people do not have that budget for that, amount of tracking. So I think the
Right.
main limitation is definitely the budget and not necessarily the tracking software. I think it's, like what you're willing to put into it. And I personally was not willing to put $15,000
Again,
into
I
my
mean, you could
model.
probably get some pretty crazy facial expressions already. Like, I can imagine somebody like, you ever see like the behind the scenes of like CGs in movies where they have all these dots all over their faces that are just
well,
tracking like
that's
every.
what I'm saying with Code Miku is that like yeah, those movies, those full body suits you see for arm movement. That's
Yeah.
what she wears. That's
He wears that
that's what she
whole
wears for
rig and stuff like that.
that's literally what she wears for for when she uses her VTuber model, and that's
Yeah,
why
no, that is
it's insane.
dedication. Could you
Hmm.
imagine, like, before every stream, like, putting on all the little tracking dots and stuff like
But
that, and, like, putting on the
but
whole suit?
but that's the crazy thing about like in technology nowadays is that like if you ever use like especially like an iPhone or something, like iPhones, like if you've ever used their facial recognition stuff, the idea is that it uses a 3D space, places it over your face with simulated dots, and that's basically what VBridger
Hmm.
uses
It
to.
simulates dots for you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what VBridger uses. It takes that technology, takes those dots, and that's why it can track those movements of your face. And obviously,
Yep.
if you're rigged to do it, it can simulate those small movements or to a certain extent
Right.
because it's using, although it's not physical dots, it's simulated well enough in technology to
So,
take.
so in a
take
way,
that.
it's really just limited by how advanced our facial recognition technology is getting. Like how crazy the facial recognition technology, the crazier
Mhm.
it gets and the better it gets,
Again, it's
the
it's
cooler VTubers we're gonna have.
again, it's the idea of evolution where a lot of things is commercial.
Connect to each other.
Well, I mean, no, I was thinking that a lot of things are commercialized right now, but once it gets to a consumer base and consumer price, example, VR, like once it comes cheap enough for consumers to buy it or to use it, it becomes a lot more prevalent and a lot more available. Whereas, a
Right.
lot of this technology is at a corporate level. Whereas
Right,
you
where it's
have to
like-
spend $15,000 or so
Yeah,
to get it done.
proprietary technology and stuff
And
like that.
no
where
one does.
they
No one.
control it.
Most people don't have that sitting next to it unless you're a corporation who needs
Yeah.
it. So
And then give it like 5 years and everybody will have one. It's crazy how like fast technology progresses, especially on like the internet front and the streaming front, and like it's awesome to me. I freaking love it because if you had told me as a 10-year-old kid that I could be an anime character
Boomer.
one day, I would have been like all over that. That would have been my dream. I would have been like, when I grow up, I want to be a VTuber. That would have been like, that's all I would have said is like, that's what I want to be when I get older. I want to be an anime character that plays video games.
so
Oh my God, that would have been 100%.
So when is Waffles making his YouTuber debut?
Well, I already
Well-
told Waffles I'd send him some resources for some of those free VTuber models after the stream. So we'll see. Maybe soon. Maybe soon.
Are we gonna get a VTuber a Waffle debut VTuber stream?
Waffle. Well, I mean, I did do a VTuber stream a while back. Deadly, actually, who's in chat right now, gave me a model. That was like it's not a very good model, like in terms of.
Are you insulting Deadly? Are you insulting Deadly right now? It's not a very good model.
How
She didn't give me
Quote
the
that. It's
model.
not.
Oh, dare!
She didn't give me the model. She gave me the program to use it. It's a VR chat model. That actually, I'm insulting Schmoodle because Schmoodle made the model. No, just no. It was
Just
my
insult
VR
his
chat
friends.
avatar.
This is what the podcast is about. It's just Waffles continuously insults his friends.
We threw that together within an afternoon. Deadly, thank you, Deadly. Yeah, Deadly helped me set up a thing where I just use my VR chat avatar, and I used that for a day or two, and I really haven't messed with it a whole lot, just because, I usually don't have much of a problem doing face cam and stuff like that. It's easier for me a lot of times if I can make subtle face expressions and things like that, or if I can look at the camera and stuff, which a lot of that for me, it can't really capture well with the track. I guess if I spent a lot of money on good camera software and tracking and stuff
Not even camera software. Literally, it's just your phone. It could literally be just your phone.
I'm literally using my iPhone right now for tracking.
I again, it becomes down to more the rigging in the model. I like the software. I don't think is a problem.
And also
Right.
preference. Like some people just don't want to use VTubers, which is fine. Like for me, I want to because like I said, like I'm a medical student. I'm going to be a physician one day. All of my information is going to be out there when I become a physician on public domain because I'm a physician. So this is like I would like to keep sort of this side of me and that side of me as separate as possible. Like those two lives.
Hello,
as
I'm your
separate as
VTuber
possible.
doctor. I'm here to take care of you today.
It's just really awkward if I say that. So
Somebody
I mean,
just like goes
honestly,
in to get a checkup, and it's just you on an
honestly,
iPad.
well,
just
that could
like,
be its
"Hello."
own whole discussion. Is the VTubers who are doctors?
I only
'cause
see
there are a
anime
bunch of them out
doctors.
there. There are a bunch of like VTubers who are doctors who are either like
Right, but
actual
they
doctors
don't
or like their
practice
VTuber characters
practice
are doctors.
doctoring as VTubers.
Some do, like on their
Hello,
streams.
I'm your
It's
anime
wild.
doctor today.
It's wild, but I think a lot of it is just like, preference. Like I prefer to keep my face to myself.
I
So
prefer to keep my face to myself. It's my
so
face. Nobody else
I
can
think
have it.
a lot of it is just preference.
Yeah, a lot of it is just preference and stuff like that. I mean, lot people have different levels of comfort showing their
I
face
I'm
on
sure we
camera
could
and
have done
stuff.
this podcast as VTubers if we wanted to. Like that.
Oh, we
Honestly,
could
we
have.
probably could have. Like I said, I have that all set up and stuff like that. It
Oh,
just
I don't. I've never done VTubing, so I would have to set that up.
it's just I never really use it that much.
I mean, like
You
that's the
Deadly
thing.
says they used their VTuber model in university courses before just for shits and giggles. Wait, how? Wait, what? Your professor was very confused. I can imagine. Like, did you go in did like you have somebody bring in an iPad and be like, no, Deadly's here today, just in a different form. And there's just like an anime character, just like, hello.
Oh, it was during
Oh, go fade.
COVID, so everything happened online. I see.
Okay.
That does make
Oh
a lot of
yeah, so you
sense.
could.
That'd
Oh
be
my god,
wild.
I just thought about that. Like with the Zoom calls and stuff like that, you could, you could be you could be a VTuber. Oh, I just realized that. That would be very interesting. How would a professor react to that? Like, or like your boss or something. You're just like, yeah, I'm showing up for work. Hello, it's me, uh,
Very,
anime
very
boy.
confused.
That would be really funny.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
Oh, that's exactly what I would use that for, 100%. Just to mess with people. I'm a waffle today. Oh yeah, yeah, and as the anime character facial tracking and stuff like that gets more advanced, and everything, like, can you imagine how subtle expressions you'd be able to make on non-humanoid characters too? You could have, like I could have a waffle that makes very subtle
That's
facial
picking its nose.
expressions. That's picking Yeah, I could have a waffle picking its waffle nose. I would make sure if I did have a waffle avatar, I need to have a big nose on it just so I can do
All right, so we're
Okay,
having
that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make
boobs
sure he has a big
and a
nose.
nose.
Yeah,
All
boobs,
right.
boobs and a
Boobs and
big
a
nose.
boobs and a big nose.
Somebody write this down. I gotta make this character someday.
Oh my god, waffle. Well, all waffles is fetishes in one kind of avatar for
Yeah,
himself.
that's what I'm attracted to. A waffle. Prefer my my preference is a waffle with boobs and a big pickable nose. Boobs with a butter bra. Yeah, there you go. The bra made out of butter. Yeah, exactly. And a big hard syrupy nose. I don't like the way you you said that, Shamler. I mean, your nose does get syrupy if you eat really syrupy waffles. Like,
Jesus. Brand,
you ever just go
when
to
you
eat
invited
waffles and you
me,
accidentally get syrup on your nose?
You invited no, I'm not saying I invited you. I'm not.
Brand, you invited
I
me
will not.
on this podcast.
I will not.
Yeah,
I
Bran, take
didn't
I will
invite
not
responsibility for
take.
you.
your
I will not
actions.
take
Astra.
blame for this. I'm not taking blame for this. I didn't.
As I said, Astra, how dare you show up as a guest here?
I will.
Yeah, I'm really regretting my life choices
Yeah.
right now.
I will not take blame for this, mostly because it was Arya who brought up the suggestion that you wanted to be a part of it. So I will not take blame for inviting you.
Our
You're
number
gonna blame
one goal is to
Arya
make our
for
guests as uncomfortable
I
as
will
possible in our streams.
I will blame Arya part of it and blame you for part of it because you told Arya that you would want to be a part of it and Arya brought up the suggestion. So this is partly your own fault.
So
Yeah,
we're
I gotta make sure
gaslighting
our
our
guests
guests
never
now.
come
I
back.
see how it is. I see how it is. If
You
I
know
had
you
known that Waffles would talk about having big boobs and a buttery bra, and picking noses for a majority of the time, like I really don't think.
how long have you known him for? How long have you known him for?
That's
Yeah.
a good question. I should have
you
anticipated
didn't
this.
expect this of some
I should
kind.
have anticipated this. You know what?
Yeah,
I
you've
will take
watched
some
my streams
blame.
before. You've watched my
I
streams. You should have
I should
known.
have anticipated
This
some of
is
this.
on you. This is
You're
on
right.
you.
It's not all on me, Waffles.
This,
Don't try.
no,
Don't try.
but this is partly you. You've known him and played with him and done streams with him for how long? And like you didn't expect some sort of a thing.
Picking noses never came up in conversation.
But
okay?
you didn't expect some weird thing to come up. Like it didn't have to be picking nosing, but some kind of weird topic would come up because that's normal.
I don't know. We were done with the weird topic after we talked with the waffle with boobs. I thought that was it. I was clearly.
We literally talked about waffles exploding on a podcast before in a different thing. Like, wait, I don't even know where that came from anymore. Like, how does that come up?
I honestly thought we were done with the weird shit after talking about waffles with boobs.
We were done with the weird shit.
I thought we
There
were
is
done. I didn't know
there
it
is
would
no done with the weird
go
shit. That's gonna
go
be
to, picking noses.
it's gonna be weird shit until the day I die. I'm gonna be picking noses on anime characters till the day I die. I'm gonna be you do not want to see my Google search history. It's just anime nose picking characters and places I can go to naked hot tub streams with Bran.
It's not just me. Oh, good.
No, it's not. I question every day I do this podcast because literally this is the thing I have to deal with. Literally have to deal with this thing. Look at him. Look at
thing.
this.
It's bi-weekly.
I am not even a human anymore.
Right? You forget in a week why you regret your life choices.
Literally bi-weekly. I'm doing this bi-weekly and like this is the crap I have to deal with. And sometimes I don't have anyone else to deal with it with me. I have to deal with it on my own.
Yeah, Bran's had, I think that's why we have guests, is so that Bran gets somebody to share the burden with. I think is Astra, you were brought here specifically to lessen Bran's burden.
You know what? I'm okay with that because I like Bran.
Yeah.
So
okay, there you go.
You, I'm questioning. I'm severely questioning after.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Bran,
I
Bran, I at least like.
Remind me never to.
Deadly.
At least you're thinking about me. And that's what's really special to me.
Don't do it.
At least you're thinking about me.
Yeah, we need to have what I need to do is every time we have a guest, I need to have them cite a waiver. This point is you will have to deal with waffles.
You should. Where's my waiver?
Bran will take no blame on you having to deal with waffles and whatever topics and things he brings up.
Resulting psychiatric help needed after this stream.
No compensation.
Including nose picking and movies.
Waffles is fetishing, including nose picking.
Waffle characters with big boobs and butter bras.
Okay, next time if I'm on this podcast again, Bran, I want to sign a waiver. I want to sign a contract that says like Waffles will not discuss.
Yeah, that was on you, Astra. You went in without signing anything.
I know. I regret it.
I cannot give you a contract that says Waffles will not talk about etc. That's not under my control. That's if you want that, you have to have him do something and sign it.
Fine, he can sign it too.
Because he will have to. He will be the one responsible in paying compensation. I will not do anything of the sorts. I know better than that. I deal with contracts every day. I will not deal with that.
Bran's like, I deal with contracts every day, and even I know better than to do a contract.
Also, Bran deals with me like every day, so he's already like help.
Okay, I know that even if you created a contract, Waffles would find something that's not in the contract that's some weird shit to talk about. He would find a way
unintentionally as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
which is the worst part. It's the worst. It would be even better if he did it on purpose.
It's not even like he's looking for a loophole. It's literally he's gonna do it unintentionally and find it.
Yeah, I'm not looking for it. It just happens. It just happens.
Oh my god. Anyways,
your fetishes just happen.
Yes, fetishes just could come out.
Yeah, sometimes I just pick anime characters' noses. It just happens. I don't know.
See, he's admitting it to it. He's half admitting to it that it is something that's on his mind.
Nose-picking finger. It's a condition.
Oh, there we go. Now he's admitted
Wandering
to having
finger.
Now he's admitted to having a condition.
Seeks out noses to pick.
Now you're seeking out noses to pick, not even just looking at them?
No, my finger does, against my will. It just happens.
Oh God, I have so many questions, and
So-
yeah, I don't want
So,
answers to
so,
any of them.
so you know about
So
that thing about us meeting IRL? I gotta cancel. I got a lot of things to do, like
So you
I
gotta
would.
every
suddenly
day.
I would.
just
I'm busy all the time
just
until forever.
just make sure you have your nostrils taped up when we see each
Tape
other,
up.
and we'll be good.
I mean, you know him; he can't help but pick noses. He said it himself. His finger does things.
Oh God, I don't know what Waffles. I don't want
No,
to know.
no,
I
you're
don't know
safe
what
if you're
Waffles
not an
does.
anime character. If you're not an anime character, you're totally good.
Oh, so it's me. So it's me that I should never meet up with
You
you.
and Arya.
Me and Aria
Probably. Yeah,
should
it's
just
probably for
never
the
ever meet up with you. Good to know. Thanks for the advance warning, at
You're
least, I
welcome.
guess.
You're welcome.
You'd be more concerned because Waffles doesn't have his passport still, so Arya's kind of safe as long as she doesn't come to
Oh
America.
shit! So it's just me.
I'm working on it, okay?
Goddamn.
So you'd be the only one that should be concerned because Waffles doesn't have his passport. So as long as Arya doesn't come to the States, she's fine.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm so happy
Aria's
that I'm the
safe
only one.
an ocean away from me.
Joy.
Anyways, I think that would be it. That's about our 2-hour mark.
That's a
so
good place to
that's-
end it.
This is a weird place to end it, but
that seems like a fitting place.
but
to
we can end
yeah.
it on Waffles being his weird self and his fetishes.
God.
All of that.
You know what? That's a good place to end my
I don't
streaming
even know
career,
where to
Let's
go.
end it on that high note.
I don't even know where to go on it. If you're interested in looking back at weird other podcasts where Waffles has done strange things, but maybe not as weird, go check it out. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music, all under the name WaffleBran Podcast. You can go check out all the past ones there, like our last one, which we talked about our jobs. You can see our previous guests who we've had on, like Arya, who we talked about a couple times, and Gentlemanly as well. And if you are already watching this and you're listening to this on any of the audio sides, go check out the video if you want to go see some of the footage that we've done there. It's exactly like Astra right there in her VTuber model. That's always cool. But yeah,
Astra, do you want to plug yourself?
Yeah,
and all
give
that?
us some
No.
plugs for yourself.
Goddamn. Hi. I don't like self-promoting on other people's streams, but you can find me at Scuffstra. Which is
Scuffstra,
Scuff-
twitch.tv/Scuffstra, where you
Scuffstra.
stream. You don't have a regular schedule.
We already talked
but
about
you-
this.
Nope, I stream whenever the hell I want to. So
yeah, so
you
catch
know.
her whenever the hell she's streaming, whenever she
Pretty
wants
much.
to.
Yeah, I have a Twitter that I post on semi-regular. I ship post on it.
Yeah. What's your Twitter? What's your Twitter handle?
Scuffstra. Everything's
Scuffstra.
Scuffstra.
Everything's Scuffstra. Got it. Okay.
YouTube is Scuffstra and Discord is Scuffstra. Everything is.
You got a
Scuffstra.
YouTube too. Yeah, go check that out.
I have the YouTube that I post semi-regularly on.
Okay.
Semi.
Yeah,
If
see?
you
But-
want to go check out Astra, links will be also in the description below.
If you
to find
come
it.
see me, don't do weird nose picking shit, please. That's all I beg of you. That's all I need is don't comment on nose picking shit.
Do you have
Don't-
And then you
Just pretend she was never here on this
go
podcast.
go to
basically, I don't want to be
Just do
involved
not
with it.
remind her of
I regret promoting myself already because I don't want to be
if you ever want to go check.
involved with
If you want to check out Astra stuff, go check her out. The links will be in the description below, and do hashtag VTubers pick noses in her chat, and Waffles will be
Yeah.
extremely happy when you do that.
Yeah, tweet at her hashtag with a hashtag VTubers picking noses.
I'm
She'll love
banning both of you
it.
immediately after.
Anyways, hope you guys all have a great time. We will be back once again, as we typically do bi-weekly. So that will be on, I don't even remember. It's going to be May now. So it's gonna
Saturday
be
after next, which is May
13th.
13th. Yep.
We'll be back on
May
May
13th.
13th, 6 o'clock EST or EDT, I guess it's now, or 6:30 more likely, turning for 6:30 because we're normally half an hour late. Yeah, go check us out there if you want to go come back. Waffles for Chumps, that's where we always stream our
Yeah, if you want to catch us live,
Our
twitch.tv/waffles for chumps.
bi-weekly. Next one will be May 13th.
Or
as
if you
we
just
said,
want to
at,
watch
like,
me
6:30 EDT.
fail at video games,
Or if you want to go watch
Also-
Waffles fail at video games as well, go check him out
It's
there.
great fun.
Or get scared
Yeah,
or whatever.
me and
he
Astra
does.
actually played a game yesterday. We played this game called Demonologist. That was really spooky. It's a spooky ghost game. That was
Got to watch Waffles shit his pants. It was
yeah,
great.
pretty much. It was just me shitting my pants for a couple hours. That game was scary.
So if
And
you
I
like,
want to play more next Friday.
and if you like any of this content, like I said, go give us a follow or subscribe, or go follow Waffles and give Astra a
Yeah.
follow as well. Anyways, take care. Have a good one, everybody. Hope you all have a fun day and don't have to deal with any more nose picking. Take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.